When policy fails, mental health, nature answers. The hidden power of sustainability. Imagine a world where the laws you trust betray your mind, where executive orders slice through fragile hopes, leaving behind only burnout, anxiety, numbness. But what if the answer has been growing silently at your feet, whispering through roots, calling through leaves? While politics fights wars on paper, nature plants revolutions in silence. In this video, you'll discover why every tree, every clean breath, every seed you touch is more than an act of green. It's rebellion, it's healing, it's survival. Stay until the last word, or risk never knowing the cure hidden in plain sight. Asterisk the silent betrayal. When promises break, minds in. The polished corridors of power, words are crafted like weapons, but not all wounds bleed. You read headlines promising relief, yet your chest still tightens when you wake at 3 in the morning, wondering why policies signed in daylight vanish in the shadows of your mind. Stand in line for answers written on paper that smells of stale ink and false dawns. They say this order, this decree, this plan will heal the cracks in your spirit, but who measures the cracks that no committee sees? You carry the weight of invisible battles while they hold conferences under artificial lights, speaking of hope like it costs nothing to manufacture. But what if hope can't be signed into existence? What if it breathes under branches instead of signatures? What if the healing you crave is older than politics and kinder than any promise ever whispered in marble halls? There is a betrayal that happens not with fists, but with indifference, the cruelest violence of all. And tonight, as you fold your fear into silence, a question grows roots in your gut. If policy fails your mind, where will you run when the noise becomes too loud to bear? They tell you to trust the process, to wait for budgets to align, for funds to trickle down like rain that never falls in drought. They smile on screens, recite bullet points, wear ribbons on lapels that shine brighter than the truth they hide. But you feel the real drought inside your skull, the dry ache of dreams that once bloomed but now curl like burnt leaves. You watch your reflection in a bathroom mirror, under buzzing lights, wondering when help will arrive, or if it ever will. What if help is not a number to dial, but a path beneath your feet? What if the trees you forgot still whisper your name when the world forgets it daily? There is a betrayal that buries itself in your calendar. Meetings missed, appointments postponed, pills that numb instead of nurture. The truth is that some rescues are not written into law. Some cures do not wear suits. Some truths grow wild, untamed, waiting for your hands to remember how to touch earth again. But they won't tell you this, so they can't profit from roots. Perhaps the cruelest secret is this: you are not broken. The system is. It feeds on the illusion that you must wait for it to fix you while it harvests the silence you swallow daily. You learn to apologize for your own exhaustion, to measure your worth in productivity charts and prescription refills. You believe the sign on the door when it said help available here, but you left emptier than when you arrived. Betrayal lives not just in failed policies, but in the lie that you must endure this alone. Yet beneath this concrete sorrow, something ancient stirs, something no policy can regulate or restrain. Have you felt it? That heartbeat under the city hum, that memory of leaves brushing your skin long before deadlines and debt? Maybe this betrayal is a signpost, a cruel teacher pushing you back to where help has always waited, in the rustle of branches and soil that forgives, an air that does not ask you to prove your worth to breathe. You wonder how long you can carry this invisible weight before your spine bends under broken promises. The policies fail your mind because they treat it like a number to be managed, not a forest to be tended. They file reports while you file away parts of yourself to survive another day in this endless wait. But what if survival is not enough? What if healing is not a service, but a birthright? They will not tell you how the breeze knows your scars. Without needing paperwork, how the roots beneath your shoes hum your name back to you. This betrayal is a door you did not ask for, but beyond it is a forest you did not know you still deserved. The question remains, sharp and echoing. When the speeches end, where will you go to remember you were always more than a policy's broken promise? So tonight, sit with this question like a seed in your chest. Let it press against your ribs until it splits open and shows you what they will never sign into law. The betrayal is real, yes, but so is the path that waits beyond it. Beneath these failed decrees, beneath this ink and noise, there is something no executive order can erase. There is green waiting for your hands, quiet waiting for your breath, truth waiting for your feet to remember how to wander. Maybe that is the true fear of those who promise without delivering, that you will remember you do not need them to heal what they cannot touch. The betrayal is a wound, but it can also be a doorway. In the forest, that quiet answer humming just beyond their reach waits for you to step through. Asterisk roots beyond decrees, nature as silent refuge there. It's a place policy cannot reach, a place too wild for signatures and too alive for slogans. Imagine your feet touching soil that does not care who you voted for, does not question how many pills you took last night just to sleep without screaming inside. There, the trees hold your secrets without needing you to confess them out loud. Have you ever knelt by a root and felt it hum against your skin, like a lullaby for wounds you never named? The streets may echo empty promises, but under a canopy of leaves, truth drips slow like rain after a season of drought. Here you remember your breath is not a line item in a budget, but an ancient pact between your lungs and the air that never turned its back. Nature does not draft reports. It drafts you back to yourself, wordless and whole, somewhere between the cracks of your concrete life. The wild has always waited, patient, fierce, unbroken by policy's cold hands. No executive order has ever planted a tree the way your palms can press a seed into earth and forget despair for a heartbeat. They want you to believe your healing must be delivered in manila folders and plastic bottles, but the forest laughs at that lie. Every leaf is a rebel against bureaucracy. Every breeze a protest against the stale air of false solutions. You step outside the maps they draw for your mind. You begin to see trails written not in laws, but in living veins of green. You realize roots care nothing for political seasons. They grow because you need them to, stubborn, silent, unstoppable, in that hush of branches above your head. There is an answer to questions you have not dared to whisper in waiting rooms. How many forms did you fill out for this silence? How many approvals did you seek to stand barefoot under a tree that forgives you before you speak? None. This is the power they cannot regulate, the quiet rebellion of returning to something that existed before every broken system, before the ink dried on documents that forgot your name. No permission slip needed, and the forest writes you back into its story, one breath, one root, one leaf at a time. And for a moment, your mind loosens its grip on that cruel chorus of not enough. Perhaps the greatest threat to failed policy is not protest, but your feet in the grass. Maybe your refusal to stay caged inside a cycle of promises and betrayals terrifies them more than any petition could. They cannot charge you for sitting beneath a tree. They cannot tax the wind that combs your hair while your eyes close and your shoulders drop the armor you carry through city streets. This freedom is not a gift they gave you. It is a birthright you forgot you held. Each step you take away from the noise is a step toward a truth that will not be televised or debated, that your healing was never for sale, only misplaced among the concrete. The forest does not cure you. It reminds you that you were never as broken as they said, so when your mind trembles under the weight of decrees that fail to see you, remember there is a door that no key can lock. Roots beyond decrees, breath beyond bureaucracy. Here, under this green cathedral, you kneel not as a patient to be treated, but as a soul to be witnessed. And if you listen closely enough, if you let your pulse sync with the rustle of leaves, you might hear the oldest truth echo back through your bones. You do not need permission to grow. You do not need their policy to heal. You are allowed to. Stand here, raw and real, and remember the earth beneath your feet does not betray. Breathing where paper ends, the unwritten sanctuary they told you, healing comes signed and stamped. Verified by someone whose name you'll never pronounce, sealed behind walls you must wait to enter. But tell me, who signed the first wind that touched your cheek? Who stamped the first sunbeam that slipped through your window when you were too tired to rise? The sanctuary was always unwritten, untamed, a promise older than your oldest wound. Here, Breath finds you where paper fails, where paragraphs of legal language dissolve in the hush of a single dawn. You stand in that hush and realize your pulse needs no signature to quicken. Your lungs do not wait for clearance to expand. This is the contract they forgot to tell you about, the secret clause in the soil that says come back. Come back every time you lose yourself in noise. Inside this sanctuary, every inhale is an act of defiance. Every exhale, a refusal to be numbered among the forgotten. No matter how many headlines shout broken systems and abandoned promises, this breath yours, raw and unsponsored, becomes your vote for life ungoverned. Sit still on moss-draped stones and feel the quiet invade you like a revolution. There is no audience to applaud your healing here. No committee to approve your worthiness for rest. It is yours by right, by birth, by the simple fact that your heart beats louder than the silence they push into your veins. Close your eyes and let the forest write its decree on the inside of your ribs, a decree no president can repeal. They will not tell you this sanctuary exists. They will say healing is rationed, that peace comes packaged and priced. But step under a canopy of branches and listen. Listen to the wind as it brushes your fears aside like dust from an old book. No one reads anymore. Listen to the water slip through roots with secrets older than cities. Here, nothing is forced to make sense. It simply is. You are allowed to be like that too, unpolished, unfinished, unresolved. What law ever gave you that permission? None. Yet here you stand, breathing deeper than any policy ever planned. When fear closes its fist around your chest. When the noise tells you to run to experts and checklists, remember this unwritten place. Remember that you can sit by a tree and confess your chaos to the leaves, and they will not diagnose you. They will not fix you. They will simply listen until the noise loosens its claws. And maybe, just maybe, that is all you needed. Not answers, but witnesses. Witnesses that do not charge by the hour or judge your trembling. Witnesses that stand tall even when you can't. What does that say about the power they keep from you? The medicine they hide in plain sight. So breathe here, where paper ends. Breathe because it is the one thing they cannot legislate out of. Your body. This sanctuary asks for no membership fee, no application, no gatekeepers in suits. It asks only that you remember. Remember that long before policies failed you, nature promised you a place to fall apart without fear. And every time you return, every breath you steal back from the chaos, you become proof that healing does not live in buildings, but in roots and rivers and the pulse of your own conquered chest. Asterisk roots deeper than policy, where resilience grows. While there comes a point when you realize the ink on paper will never hold you. Laws written in marble halls cannot cradle your trembling hands at 2 a.m. when the fear won't sleep. They cannot hush the pounding inside your chest or untangle the thoughts that grow like weeds behind your eyes. But outside, beneath your feet, another ink runs deeper, a language of roots speaking in silence. Each tree holds archives older than your government's oldest decree. Branch writes resilience in a script no judge can erase. When you stand here, barefoot on wet soil, you remember, the earth holds what paper never could. You kneel beside a young sapling and feel the truth. They keep hidden. Resilience does not wait for permission. It grows wild when systems collapse. It weaves its green fingers through the cracks of broken promises. No policy can uproot the secret pact between you and the forest, a pact that says no matter how many walls they build, nature always finds its way in. You can build 1,000 barriers and still the wind will slip through, carrying seeds that laugh at concrete. You are that seed too, aren't you? Pushed to the edges, buried in the dirt they thought would kill you, yet here you are sprouting, in the dark. When you walk among ancient trunks, you sense how absurd their cages are. Bureaucracy cannot tame a root. Paper cannot bind a river. Their declarations are loud, but the whisper of leaves is louder when you let it inside. Here, you learn how to endure the storms that make headlines and disappear by dawn. Here, you see that sustainability is not a project, it's a rebellion against despair. It's a reminder that what grows wild within you is stronger than the walls they build around your hope. Every breath in this wild resilience teaches you what they forgot to teach in sterile rooms and crowded waiting lines.
Oh.
That your mind craves. Not only answers, but green spaces to scatter its questions in the wind. That your heart finds its own therapy session in the hush of pine needles under your soles. That your fears lose their grip when you sit beside roots older than politics, older than paper, older than fear itself. This is the sanctuary they cannot legislate away, no matter how many headlines claim your mind is beyond saving, so stay here a little longer. Let the roots remind you that survival is not sterile, it is tangled, raw, imperfect. Let them show you that you do not heal because they allow you to. You heal because life insists on bursting through the cracks. No order, no policy, no cold decree can stop a seed from becoming a forest if you give it the quiet it needs. And maybe, just maybe, by tending to these roots, you remember the one root that matters most, the one that runs through your chest. Wild and undefeated, asterisk the sanctuary within. When green becomes you at the end of every law and every cold decision. You stand alone with your breath and your heartbeat, listening for what no decree can silence. Maybe you thought your sanctuary was out there, somewhere beyond reach, hidden behind the iron gates of policy, or locked away by signatures that never knew your name. But lean closer, closer than fear will let you. The sanctuary they could never legislate was never a place outside. It was the green pulse inside your ribs, waiting for you to remember you are part of the forest you seek when they fail you. With deadlines and excuses, you gather the quiet like dry leaves and build your own shelter. You learn to plant what they will not. Trees at your doorstep, herbs on your windowsill, seeds tucked into your palm like whispered prayers for a softer tomorrow. It is small at first, a single sprout, a breath of mint on your fingers, but it multiplies in the corners of your mind, pushing out the clutter they left behind. Here, your mind finds what no therapist could prescribe, the medicine of green rebellion, the wild therapy of tending life when your own feels like it is slipping. Every branch outside is mirrored by a branch inside you, a promise that your mental storms are not failures, but weather, and weather passes. The leaves teach you the same lesson every autumn, to release, to shed, to let go of what is dead so that something unseen can root in silence. When the policy fails, the forest answers not with permission slips or sterile pills, but with reminders that your healing was never meant to be neat. It is tangled, it is raw, and it is alive. So you stand at the edge of their world and choose a different vow, that no matter what is written against you, you will keep planting. That no matter how many headlines say it is hopeless, you will keep tending. You water the saplings in your yard and the seeds in your mind with the same devotion. You learn that your mental health is not only in your skull but under your feet, and in the breath of wind that threads through your hair when you stand among the trees, you called forth by your own stubborn hope. And maybe that is all the revolution you need to become a piece of green defiance, to become the sanctuary you searched for, to be the proof that when policy fails your mind, nature waits, patient and quiet, ready to remind you who you really are beneath the noise. And if you stand still enough, you will hear it, the forest within you humming, grow anyway. There will come a night when the walls feel too close, when the headlines blur your sense of self, and you wonder if your mind is a battleground already lost. Let this be the moment you remember. Not all answers come signed by power. Some come whispered by the wind, threading through branches older than any government decree. The roots beneath your feet do not know about executive orders or empty promises. They only know how to reach deeper, how to drink from silent veins of hope hidden under the noise. Every leaf that trembles overhead is a lesson you missed in school, that survival is not compliance, but connection. When the policies suffocate you, loosen the collar with your own hands. Step barefoot into a patch of grass nobody bothered to pave over. Feel the memory of wildness press against your skin, like an ancient promise that your breath still belongs to more than rules and pills. You were never meant to heal in isolation, or behind closed doors where healing costs more than your rent. You were always meant to stand among things that do not ask you to prove your worth, trees that do not care about your diagnosis, rivers that do not read your medical file, soil that does not judge how you fall apart. This is not about ignoring the pain or denying the weight of failed systems. It is about remembering that beneath every broken piece of legislation, there is earth that does not break. That no matter how high they build their walls, the seeds in your pocket remain novernave. So plant them. Plant them in your yard, in your window box, in the cracks of your city's gray heart. Plant them in your habits, your daily rituals, your restless mind. Let green things creep into places the system cannot reach until you look around one dawn and realize you have become a garden the policy forgot to destroy. You, dirt. Under your nails and new air in your lungs, will discover what Wangari Maathai always knew, that to grow a tree is to grow yourself, and to grow yourself is to resist quietly, stubbornly, beautifully. Maybe the next time the news tries to convince you it's all lost, you'll remember this. The roots you tend today will stand taller than their broken promises tomorrow. That your mind, like a forest, needs disturbance to bloom, and bloom it will, again and again. So leave them their paper solutions. Walk out into the nearest patch of green and listen for the part of you that does not obey. When policy fails, your mind, nature, answers with a question. Will you grow anyway? If these words plant something inside you, water it. Share this message. Leave a piece of yourself in the comments below and invite another mind to remember the forest within. Subscribe not just to this channel, but to the quiet revolution that begins every time you choose to breathe where they forgot you could. Asterisk. 5 real-life examples of how nature doesn't wait for government action. Asterisk 1. Singapore, the Garden City. When Singapore gained independence, it faced overcrowding, pollution, and massive social stress. Instead of relying only on rigid infrastructure, the government envisioned a garden city, weaving green corridors, rooftop gardens, vertical forests, and urban biodiversity into daily life. Today, nearly 50% of the island is covered in green. Local studies show that stress levels drop, depression decreases, and people feel a stronger sense of belonging. Proof that when mental health policies fail, nature woven into concrete silently heals. 2.Freiburg, Germany, oasis of green urbanism in the 1980s. Freiburg reinvented itself as an eco-city, creating neighborhoods like Vauban, where streets look like forests. Homes produce their own clean energy, and every resident has easy access to green trails and woodlands. Local doctors and psychologists documented how daily exposure to greenery chronic anxiety and strengthened community ties. When traditional systems overlooked urban burnout, trees and plants became a living remedy. 3. Curitiba, debris. Parks that prevent crises. Curitiba is a powerful Latin American example of how environmental strategies can make up for gaps in other policies. Faced with floods and population growth, the city chose linear parks, urban forests, and rain gardens instead of massive concrete dams. These green spaces became mental health sanctuaries for millions. Local psychologists often cite Curitiba's green islands as one of the city's most important indirect shields against collective emotional stress. For Melbourne, Australia. Urban forest strategy. Melbourne struggled with urban heat islands and high stress levels. The city launched the urban forest strategy, aiming to double its tree canopy by 2030. Reports now show neighborhoods with more trees have lower depression rates, fewer work absences due to psychological stress, and healthier human interactions. When official mental health support falls short, roots in the soil quietly restore balance. 5. Nairobi, Kenya, the legacy of Wangari Maathai in Nairobi. The Greenbelt movement, founded by Wangari Maathai, remains one of the world's most powerful symbols. Communities shattered by poverty, violence, and lack of mental health services found collective tree planting to be an act of healing. Many women share stories of how tending saplings eased trauma, brought purpose, and rebuilt connection. An organic cure when the state offered no psychological support.